Having looked at the daily rules earlier, which is where we set up the expectation of what someone's going to do. So, for example, they're going to work from 9 till 2:30. This is, at this point, not allocated to a day. It's just a rule that can be allocated to a day. What we then do is if we want to set up patterns, so work patterns, roster templates, shift patterns, whatever you want to call them, then you can come in here and you can set up a template which where those daily rules are applied in a pattern form. So if I look at the admin ordinary roster template, so this is saying that someone who works under this particular template is going to work in the admin ordinary for 4 days a week, and then they are rostered off for 3 days a week. Whereas if I look at my cleaner is rostered to be on ACC permanently, which is unusual, so I might put that back to something a little bit more logical. So they could work in admin, or I could say that they're working as a cleaner, and then they work cleaner as 5 days a week, and then they're off for two. Or if I look at the factory, then I've got someone who's working factory for 5 days, and then they've got two weekend rules on the off chance that they do come in. So these will be normal working rules as opposed to my cleaner who was on an RDO and was not expected to come in. You can also set up patterns for an individual employee. So for example, we have this one here for Janice. So Janice is doing admin and then day shift and then factory and then off, and then she works in sales and then she works in the factory and then she's off again. Not likely, but that's an example of how you can set that up. You can also set the length of your pattern. So if you had, for example, a rotating shift pattern, so you can come and say, okay, well, this is a 14-day rotating shift, and what we're going to do is we're going to say that this person is in week 2 of that particular pattern. They have these rules that apply, and I can set up a set of rules so that the system knows what to expect when that pattern gets applied. Again, this is another area where the team, a success team, would help you set this up if that was the case. But then you've got that ability to set up, and you can go as many weeks in that pattern as you wish. So you can have a 3 on, 4 off, a 4 on, 4 off, 21-day rotation. We don't mind. You set an expectation of when that particular roster pattern will start, and then you go from there. So you can have global roster patterns which apply to anyone who gets allocated this particular pattern, or you can have unique individual patterns that apply just to one person in the organization who has their own set of rules. So what we look at when we're doing this with you is we look at your roster, if you have such a thing. If you don't have a roster, and lots of clients don't, obviously if we're dealing with hospitality then they do, but in factories there is still an expectation of a work pattern, whether it's Monday to Friday with Saturday mornings and then Sunday off. We look at that as part of the onboarding process, and then we've set up these rules around that.